story. Well, it's been a year since President Obama signed the Affordable Care Act, or Obamacare, into law. Before it passed, then Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi promised it would create jobs.
This bill is not only about the health security of America, it's about jobs. In its life, it will create 4 million jobs, 400,000 jobs almost immediately.
But the left-leaning Urban Institute now says the health care law will have no significant impact on employment. And joining us now is a man who saw all of this coming, Utah Senator Orrin Hatch. Senator, thanks for joining us this morning.
Well, nice to be with you, Dana.
One of the things I noticed is that, and there's a Kaiser poll that was out today asking people, do you have enough information about the health care law, 1 year later, to know how it will affect you? And still, 52% of the people say no. Does that surprise you, sir?
Not at all. When Kathleen Sebelius, Secretary of HHS, appeared before our committee, I asked her why 67% of Republican requests about this bill have not been answered. And she didn't have any real good answer to that. And I said, well, will you answer them within the next 30 days? I gave her 30 more days. And she would not commit to that. In fact, 85% of almost everything they've done is non-transparent. So much for transparency. They said it would be transparent. Interestingly enough, some of the leading Democrats who actually supported President Obama, like Howard Schultz, I believe it is, who owns Starbucks, he now has come out and said that this is very harmful. This Obamacare will be harmful to small businesses because of the mandates that they put on small business. And of course, we're now in court with 26 states showing that these mandates are unconstitutional. I believe they'll be held unconstitutional by the Supreme Court in the end.
One of the things that Speaker Pelosi was also famous for saying was that we had to pass the bill in order to find out what was in the bill. A year later, after President Obama has signed the bill, what do you think Americans are still surprised to be finding out about this legislation?
Well, they're surprised that they've lost 800,000 jobs. They not only haven't created jobs, they've lost 800,000. They've also seen about $113 billion more put on the backs of the states that are already $175 billion in the hole. They've seen that there's $2,100 in additional premium costs when they were told that this would bend the cost curve and that the premium costs would go down. They actually, like I say, have just about, they've come up with a program here that was so partisan to begin with. Not one Republican was even asked to participate in the end. And now they're stuck with this dog, and they don't know what to do with it. And so they keep saying things that aren't true about it when we put the facts out, and our facts are backed up by the authorities.
So for those who don't support it, are they also stuck with it? Or what? Could you give me a little bit of insight into the Republican plan going forward in order to replace it or repeal and replace? That was the mantra of last fall's election. Where does that stand now on March 23rd, a year after the bill was signed?
Well, we don't have enough votes in the Senate. We've got to really turn this around in the next election in 2012. There are 25 Democrats up and only 10 Republicans, so hopefully we'll get the majority. But we've got to replace this bill. We've got to change it and make it so that it's something that the American people can afford. It's running us into bankruptcy. I mean, my gosh, everybody admits now it's at least $2.6 trillion over 10 years. Well, we have no way of paying for that. They're taking $529 billion out of Medicare, if you can believe it. That's a program that is $38 trillion in unfunded liability as we sit here. And then you add that unconstitutional employee mandate that I believe will be held unconstitutional. And then I believe that the employer mandate, which the small business people are complaining about, that employer mandate, I believe it's unconstitutional too, but it's a job-killing mandate, as we can see.